practitioner, and my topic today is called A Healthy Mind. My objective is to bring awareness, maintain a healthy mind, and also to restore a healthy mind. The Lord said in Jeremiah 30:17, "For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds." If the mind is sick, the body is sick because your head controls your body. The brain is very important. If you cut off your arm or a leg, you can still function in life. But if you cut off your head, you are totally incapacitated and not able to function. Everyone has some risk of developing a mental health disorder, no matter their age, sex, income, ethnicity, your title, your background, or previous accomplishments in life. In the US and much of the developed world, mental disorders are one of the leading causes of disability. Social and financial circumstances, biological factors, and lifestyle choices can all shape a person's mental health. The World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Peak mental health is looking after your wellness and also your happiness. Mental health refers to cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being. In simpler terms, it's all about how people think, how you behave, and how you feel. Mental health can affect daily living, relationships, and also physical health. Factors in people's lives, communications between others, and physical factors can all contribute to mental health disruptions. Preserving and restoring mental health is crucial on an individual basis, as well as throughout different communities and societies worldwide. Taking care of your mental health can preserve a person's ability to enjoy life and also increase your life expectancy. Doing this involves reaching a balance between life activities, responsibilities, and efforts to achieve psychological resilience, meaning the ability to mentally or emotionally cope with a crisis or return to pre-crisis status quickly. Conditions such as depression and anxiety can all affect mental health and disrupt a person's routine. Due to time constraints, I will only focus on depression in children and adolescent, adults, and older adults, the elderly. On this format, I'm restricted with time, so I will try my best to discuss what is depression, signs and symptoms of depression, causes, diagnosis, treatment, suicide prevention, and how and where to find support. What is depression? Depression is an ongoing problem, not a passing one. Depression can happen to anyone. It is a mood disorder that involves a persistent feeling of sadness, feeling down, and loss of interest or pleasure in daily activities. These may be familiar feelings for all of us, but to be diagnosed with depression, symptoms must be present for at least 2 weeks. It must cause the individual clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning, and it must affect your life substantially. The symptoms must also not be a result of substance abuse or another medical condition. Depression can last for several weeks, months, or years. Aside from the emotional problems caused by depression, individuals can also present with physical symptoms such as chronic pain or digestive issues such as nausea, vomiting, constipation, or diarrhea. The brain has a direct effect on your stomach and your intestines. So your emotions can trigger the symptoms in your gut, in your stomach, that henceforth the nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. There are several forms of depression. There's major depression, persistent depression, bipolar disorder, postpartum depression, and psychotic depression, just to name a few. There's many more. The medical community does not fully understand the causes of depression. There are many possible causes, and sometimes various factors combine to trigger symptoms. Triggers are emotional, psychological, and physical events or circumstances that can cause depression symptoms to appear or return. These are some of the most common triggers, such as stress, full life events, such as a loss, family conflicts, and changes in relationship. Also, there's infertility issues. There can be incomplete recovery after having stopped treatment too soon, medical conditions such as obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Some people have a higher risk of depression than others. Risk factors include work issues, changing your relationships, financial problems, and medical concerns. Experiencing acute distress, having a lack of successful coping strategies, having a close relative with depression, maybe your mother, your father have depression, you may have a chance of having depression yourself. Using recreational drugs such as alcohol or amphetamines, crack or cocaine, you name it. Having sustained a head injury or having a previous episode of major depression and living with persistent pain. Some people are in chronic pain and this can cause depression. To tap on signs and symptoms, the DSM-5, which is like our golden rule book, it outlines the following criteria to make a diagnosis of depression. The individual must be experiencing 5 or more symptoms during the same 2-week period. And at least one of the symptoms should be either a depressed mood, loss of interest, or pleasure. There are also other symptoms such as a loss of sexual desire, changes in your appetite, unintentional weight gain or weight loss, sleeping too much or sleeping too little, agitation, restlessness, and pacing up and down, slowed physical body movements, slowed speech and thoughts observed by others, fatigue or loss of energy, feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt, difficulty thinking, concentrating or making decisions, recurrent thoughts of death, recurrent suicidal ideations without a specific plan or a suicide attempt or a specific plan for committing suicide. According to the Centers for Disease Control, depression is nearly twice as common among men than women. Common female symptoms are irritability, anxiety, mood symptoms, mood swings, fatigue, rumination, meaning you're dwelling on negative thoughts. You are what you think. A wise man once told me, your thoughts determine your habits, your character, your destiny. Be mindful of your thoughts that are controlling you because there is power in your thoughts. If you are thinking happy things, you will in turn be happy, and the same is for sadness. Postpartum depression and premenstrual dysphoric disorder are also unique to females. Males with depression are more likely than females to drink alcohol in excess, display anger, and engage in risk-taking behavior as a result of the disorder. Other symptoms of depression in males may include avoiding family and social situations, working without a break, having difficulty keeping up with work and family responsibility, displaying abusive or controlling behavior in relationships. In college students, attending college can be very stressful, especially dealing with other lifestyles, cultures, and experiences for the first time. Many of our college students are introduced to drugs when they go to college. So some students have difficulty coping with these things, and they may develop depression, anxiety, or both as a result. Symptoms of depression in college students may include difficulty concentrating on schoolwork, insomnia, sleeping too much, a decrease or increase in appetite, avoiding social situations and activity that they used to enjoy. So when you send your child to college, be mindful if they have a huge change in their weight, whether it's a loss or a huge gain, start asking that child some questions. In teens, physical changes, hormonal changes, peer pressure, and other factors can contribute to depression in teenagers. So we have to also look out for some of the following symptoms with our teenagers, those who are in high school. They may start withdrawing from their friends and their family, having difficulty concentrating on schoolwork, feeling guilty, helpless, or worthless, restlessness, such as inability to sit still. They're just always moving. Also in children, this disorder can affect how children interact with friends and families. It may prevent them from enjoying school, sports, hobbies, or other childhood activities. Symptoms can make schoolwork and social activities very challenging. Parents, teachers, and caretakers should look out for the following symptoms of depression in children, such as unexplained crying and feeling of sadness or hopelessness. Low energy, they're just always tired. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to get out of bed. They don't have any interest in fun activities. Or maybe they can be clingy. There's clinginess, changes in their eating or their sleeping habits, behavioral problems at school and defiant behavior, or they may be vocally outbursts, having vocal outbursts, screaming or yelling all the time in the house. There would be mood changes and such as irritability. They would just be irritable all the time. If you start noticing that in your child, start trying to ask questions and seek help. Younger children may have difficulty expressing how they feel in words, so this can make it harder for them to explain their feelings of sadness. Causes of depression in children. There's medical conditions that can cause symptoms of depression, such as anemia. They may have had a concussion, whether they play football or any sports, diabetes, epilepsy, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, mononucleus, vitamin D deficiency. In older adults, life changes as you age, such as retirement, the death of a loved one, decline in health can sometimes trigger this depression. Signs and symptoms in older adults include sadness or feelings of despair, unexplained or aggravated aches and pains, loss of interest in socializing or hobbies. Maybe you may have an older church member that just stops going to church. Give them a call, see what's going on. There can be weight loss or loss of appetite, feelings of hopelessness or helplessness, lack of motivation and energy, sleep disturbances, that you may have difficulty falling asleep or have difficulty staying asleep, or you may just start oversleeping or having daytime sleepiness, loss of self-worth. Maybe they are worrying about being a burden onto others. Some of our older folks, they don't want to burden their children or other people. So they may start to feel worthless or start self-loathing. Their speech may start to slow. They may start increasing their alcohol intake or start using drugs, or they may start fixating on death or suicide. They may start being very forgetful or having memory problems. They may start neglecting their personal care, skipping meals, forgetting meds, neglecting their personal hygiene. Many depressed seniors and elderly, they deny feeling sad at all. And they may complain instead of low motivation or a lack of energy or physical problems. In fact, physical complaints such as arthritis pain or worsening headaches are often the predominant symptom of depression in the elderly. The major causes of depression in older adults are health problems that we explained. There's loneliness and isolation, factors such as living alone, a decrease in social circle due to deaths, maybe they lost their driving privileges. These all can trigger depression. There's also a reduced sense of purpose, a retirement. When you retire, you can lose a loss of identity. You may feel that you're not the same person you once were before. Your self-confidence can just go down the hill. And maybe that financial security can trigger that depression. You may also be fearing of death or dying, as well as anxiety over those financial problems or health issues. Recent death of a loved one, a partner, or a pet can also trigger these things. Medical conditions that cause elderly depression. There are some conditions that can cause these depressions in older adults, either directly or a psychological reaction to the illness. So any chronic medical condition, particularly if it's painful, disabling, or life-threatening, it can lead to depression or make your depression symptoms worse. These include Parkinson's disease, stroke, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, thyroid disorders, vitamin B12 deficiency, dementia, any Alzheimer's disease, lupus, multiple sclerosis. These things can trigger. Also, be mindful of the medications you're taking. Some medications, as a side effect, causes depression. So be particular of these commonly prescribed drugs, because if you're a person who's taken multiple medications, you may be at risk for developing depression. So if you feel depressed after starting a new medication, talk to your doctor. You may be able to lower your dose or just switch to another medication that doesn't impact your mood. Medications that can worsen your depression include some of the blood pressure, disease medication, ulcer medications. So let's move on to diagnosis. If a person suspects that they're having symptoms of depression, they should seek professional help from a doctor, a psychiatric nurse practitioner, or a mental health specialist. Reach out to someone, or even a church member. A qualified health professional can rule out various causes and ensure that accurate diagnosis and provide a safe and effective treatment for you. A psychiatric evaluation or clinical interview is the most effective method for detecting depression. And when necessary, they may need to ask your family member or a caretaker or someone for more information. They may need to be involved. So there's tests that can be done. A mental health professional often asks people to complete like a questionnaire to assess the severity of your depression. We have the Hamilton Depression Rating Scale and the Beck Depression Inventory, to name a few. The proper diagnosis and treatment, the right treatment as it, because it's never too late. In Joel 2, verse 25, the Lord said he will restore to you the years that has been lost. As in Psalm 126, when the Lord restores your mental health, it will be like those who dreamt. Your mouths will be filled with laughter and your tongues with songs of joy. The earlier treatment starts, the more successful it may be. Managing symptoms usually involves three components. So there's support, there's psychotherapy, which is talking therapy. There's drug treatment. The doctor can give you like an antidepressant, such as an SSRI or a tricyclic antidepressant. But be careful. Many of these medications have side effects, such as nausea, constipation, weight loss, sexual dysfunction. So work closely with your doctor when you're taking medications. Also, if you're a child, another possible side effect of antidepressants, it may increase suicidal thoughts or actions in some children, teenagers, or young adults within the first few months of treatment. So be watchful. A person should only take medications that is prescribed by their doctors. Stopping medications too soon can lead to a relapse. Other treatment options are natural remedies, such as chamomile or lavender. There's brain stimulation therapies, transcranial magnetic stimulation, electroconvulsive therapy. You can also meditate, journal, read your Bible. There's supplements that can help you. You have to eat to support your mood. Eat mood-boosting food. Try to get exercise into your routine, because exercise is a powerful depression treatment. In fact, research suggests that it can be just as effective as an antidepressant. So look for small ways to add more movement to your day. Anything that can get you up and movement, it helps. Take a short walk right now and you'll see how much better you feel. Support good quality sleep. Depending on your age, we need about 6 to 12 hours of sleep. Spend time in the sunlight, because the sun is the best source of vitamin D, but do it with caution. The host now is a Bible preaching church, and your faith can preserve a person's ability to enjoy life. Jesus said in John 16:33, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. Jesus knows we will experience difficult times. There are many comforting words in the Bible that can be a source of strength as we reflect on his love for us. Throughout faith, we may be able to overcome the obstacles in this life. The Lord declared the plans he had for us is for peace and not for evil, to give us a future and hope. Your current situation may be proven difficult right now, but I want you to be hopeful and know that God has a plan for you and better times are ahead. So let's just talk about suicide real quickly. Getting short of time. Warning signs of suicidal behavior